Well, hey there, folks. How you doing today? Hope you're having an awesome day. Well, today I thought we'd have a look at some of my recent SAK-usitions. I know, bad pun. But these are some of the recent Swiss Army knives I've picked up. So I thought we'd have a look and maybe look at how I was able to date some of them. And if you think you'd be interested in that, stay tuned and we'll have a peek. Okay, before we get into the knives, just real quick, Charlie got some mail today from some fella, Harold, down somewhere in the U.S. Can't imagine what this would be, but let's have a look. And since we had the moat here, we might as well have a look with the SAK. Great little letter openers. And Brother Charlie. That would be Sister Charlie, I'll have you know. Thanks for putting your paw to paper and joining in on the fun. Abs and Maddie say hi. As promised, here's your official membership swag. Your brother in Blades, HTTPS, tell Todd we said hello to. So that's in response to a short I did a little while ago. Harold put out a thing for bucket hats and buck knives, and so Charlie donned a bucket hat, and we looked at some buck knives real quick. So thank you very much, Harold, and Charlie says thank you as well. Okay, back to the SAKs. So the first one I want to look at is this one right here. And this is a Victorinox Spartan. So you've got your sewing awl, your corkscrew, you've got your cap lifter, screwdriver, can opener, screwdriver. You have a small spear point pen blade, and then you have your spear point. Now, what was interesting to me about this one was the logo right here. It's a bit faded, but you can see Jeep. I'm a Jeep guy, so I had to have it. And then the USA Olympics logo. So that made me extra curious to date this one. So you can see here we have a 4-line tank stamp, Victorinox, Switzerland, stainless, and Rossfray. Now, the key thing to look at this one, beyond the 4 lines, is the V in Victorinox is larger than the other characters in Victorinox. On the flip side, we have the Officer Swiss, but it also has the crossbow and the cross. And in this case, the cross is touching the string on the crossbow. So that tells us that this is a 1986 to 1992 manufactured knife. Now, beyond that, where this has both Jeep and the USA Olympics, I looked in that time frame, and you had 2 Olympic events in that time frame. You had the 1998 Winter Olympics in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and you had the Summer Olympics in Seoul, Korea. So I looked up sponsorships. Jeep did sponsor the Winter Olympics in 1998 in Calgary, Alberta. So I'm fairly confident that this is a 1988 knife. So it was cool to be able to date that. So the second one I picked up is this one here, and it's a Victorinox Huntsman. Black covers, 4 layers, 91 millimeter, weighs 97 grams, and has 15 tools. So you've got your corkscrew, you've got your sewing awl, you've got a somewhat hard to get at package hook, and then everything else is fairly standard with the addition of saw blade. One of my favorite things to have on a Swiss Army knife. So if we look at the tank stamp on this one, we see Victorinox, Swiss-made, stainless. So it's only a 3-line tank stamp. And all of the characters in Victorinox are the same size. If we flip to the opposite side, we see Officer Swiss, but we don't see the crossbow or the cross. So that dates this one from 2011 till present. I think it's a pretty good model. It's a nice size, it's got some good tools. The scissors are quite beefy on this one too. That's a fairly healthy sized pair of scissors for a Swiss Army knife. So that's that one. So the next one I want to look at is this one here. And this is a Wenger Esquire. And this is Wenger's version of the SD Classic by Victorinox. So you got your same basic tools. Got your little pen blade. You've got a nail file with a little tip for cleaning under your nails. And then you have your scissors. Different spring system. Rather than that little wire spring, you've got this piece here. And I kind of like that. Kind of like the scissors better on the Wengers than I do on the Victorinoxes. And I picked this one up because it's an advertising piece, Gen X Sports Incorporated. But I'm in my 50s, I'm Gen X, so proud to sport that. Dating this one, it's hard to see, but you've got your Wenger tank stamp, Delmont Switzerland stainless, and you've got your little umbrella or crossbow thing here. And Wenger on this side. And if you can see, the Wenger is not italicized. It's block letters. So what that tells us is that the tank stamp was used from 1990 to 2008. And the Wenger with the block letters was used from 1990 to 2008. So that puts this one in that range. So this one is slightly bigger than your SD Classic. It's a 65 millimeter where your SD Classic's a 58 millimeter. But it has all the same basic tools. Its dimensions are 0.75 inches by 0.36 by 2.5. Now, one curious thing about Wenger, Wenger went out of business and was later scooped up by Victorinox in the early 2000s. And they were struggling at the time. One of the things, oddly enough, that killed them was the events of 9/11. Prior to that, Wenger, a lot of their business was at airports. They sold a lot of knives at airports. And when new restrictions on carrying knives on planes came into place, that was a big dent in their business. So that may have been the death knell to an already struggling company. And that one came with the box. For anyone curious, here's the box that came with it. And I actually looked up the UPS code, and it is accurate to the knife. And inside of that, you get a little slip for the knife. Just a little suede slip. And you get your warranty information. But also, neat with that, you get a chart showing all of the different tools you could get on a Wenger knife with a description of each one. So I thought that was pretty neat. So the next one we'll look at is this one right here. And this is a Victorinox Rambler. And what's different mainly with this one is you get this little tool here. So you get a cap lifter, a wire bender, and a Phillips screwdriver. Other tools include your standard pen blade. You get your nail file, and I'm going to assume what's supposed to be a flathead screwdriver, and then you get your scissors. Then you have your scale, tools, your toothpick, and your tweezers. Curious difference between the Wenger and the Victorinox is on the Victorinox, your scale tools are accessed from the outside, whereas on your Wenger, they're accessed from the inside. If we look on the tank stamp with this one, you have nothing on that side, but you have your Victorinox, Switzerland, stainless, rust-free. And your V on this one is hard to tell, but is larger than the rest of the characters. So that puts it in the 86 to 92 range, but also for larger knives where they didn't have the Officer Swiss on the opposite side of the blade, where it was blank, as in this case, that ranged from 92 to 2005. So I'm going to take the safe bet this one is 86 to 92. But another curious thing about this one, there were different models of the Rambler, and they just had some different tools. Some had different blades. One had more of like a sheep's foot or a Warncliffe. So the curious thing I found that differentiates this one from other examples of the model is that the shield side is opposite to the advertising side. Typically, the shield would be on this side, but for whatever reason, on this one, the shield is on this side. And I don't know if that's a manufacturing defect or what, but most of the ones I see have the shield on this side where your blade opens. Just a point of curiosity. So here we have another Esquire, and this is a curious one too, because there is no shield. And I can't see anywheres where there's even an indentation or any remnants where there was a shield. Now, it could be the shield was painted on, but it's fairly prominent on this one. If we go by the orientation of the key ring, it should be right there. There's also some variation in the shields that can help to date these Esquires. But this one has all the same tools as the other. But it has no shield. But you see basically the same tank stamp here and here. So I think this one dates around the same range to 1990 to 2008. Now, this one here was sent to me by Jay over at Sasquatch Knives Canada. And if we look at this one, Victorinox, Switzerland stainless, rust-free, V is larger, nothing on this side. So I'm going to say this one dates in around the 86 to 92 range as well. But this one is slightly different in that one tool is missing here, and that would likely be probably tweezers or toothpick. But you notice a little switch here. If we push down on that and push out, we've got a small pen. You've got your Victorinox shield and your translucent blue scales, and then Victorinox written here. So this one here, a little SD Classic, I believe this one was sent by J2. McTarp Petroleum Co. Limited. There's the number if you need some petroleum. Has your toothpick and your tweezers. All the same tools of an SD Classic. And date-wise on this one, we're looking at a 4-line. Looks like the V is larger. Nothing on this side. So this one again is probably 86 to 92. But it's green. And being as I'm filming this video between July 1st Canada Day and July 4th Independence Day, I just had to bring these two out. So there is a Canadian themed SD Classic, and this is a modern one. You can see it's a 3-line, Victorinox, Swiss made stainless, nothing on this side, and that one would date 2011 until present. And these are newer ones I picked up, so that's consistent. And then we have our American flag, and again, 3 lines, lettering all the same size in Victorinox, nothing on this side. So, belated Happy Canada Day and early Happy Independence Day. And just to show some other things, here's a couple slip examples. This is one I picked up off of eBay. Put the lanyard on it myself. It had kind of a neck lanyard on it. And that's great. Your knife just pops right down inside, and then I prefer to just throw it in my pocket. But if you want to keep it on your key ring, but you didn't want to scuff up your knife because it had something cool on it, great little slip. Here's another version. I believe that one came with this knife. Just a nice little slip just to throw it in, and you could have it on your key ring. So, or just throw it in your pocket. So, these things are very collectible. They make them with a variety of themes and scenes. So, probably a lot of folks, when they carry them, they don't want to destroy that. So, the slips are a great little feature just to protect the imagery on the scales. Well, I do believe we covered them all. So, very happy with this one. Just that has the coolest story around it. Jeeps, Olympics, and that I could likely date it down to a specific year of 1988 was pretty neat. And then I really like this guy. I wanted a Huntsman. The only thing that would make it more perfect, if that was something other than a corkscrew, a Phillips screwdriver or something like that. But other than that, it's got many, many cool features on it that if I wanted to have a knife, a Swiss Army knife with me when I'm back in the woods, something like this with these features is what I'd go for. So that'll be it for today, folks. If you have any information like why maybe this guy doesn't have a shield, or why this guy has a shield on the atypical side, then I'd love to hear it. Throw those in the comments below. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. Swiss Army knives, great thing to have. They're tailored to a variety of needs and carry situations, whether it's urban, rural, wilderness. There's probably a Swiss Army knife that will suit just about any need. Anyways, other than that, folks, I'm going to let you go. I hope you have an awesome day. And if you're not having an awesome day, take a little time, go for a half-hour walk in the woods. Go sit on a rock or a stump and just kind of close your eyes and listen. If you hear anything that sounds like a bear, get up and get out of the woods. But otherwise, enjoy the peace and quiet. If you're going by yourself, tell somebody where you're going. And take a Swiss Army knife with you. Might just come in handy. You all take care.